Formula One is an international auto racing series, but traditionally it's been centered around Europe and to a lesser extent the Americas. In the last 20 some odd years, though, it has expanded far beyond the shores of Europe to include East Asia and also the Middle East. So it really has become a global motorsport, and it's become very popular in the process, expanding the reach and depth of the sport. Will this continue on in the future, though? Things seem to be going very well. There is a large demand for additional races. Governments are pouring millions of dollars either into racetracks or into teams or in sponsorship deals. And so you see a lot more of that from non-European sources. There's been a trend of more American involvement as well as Middle Eastern involvement and also East Asian involvement in the sport. So there's money flowing in, interest, eyeballs, just a lot more buzz and attention surrounding the sport. But is this inevitable? Will this continue? Or is there a possible retrenchment in the future? And that's an open question. That's a possible headwind I see for Formula One. Because really what we're seeing now is a sport that is predicated upon peace and prosperity, thriving global trade, easy access to financial markets. And that's not a given. I think what we're seeing in the, let's call it the post-Cold War world, let's start it from, let's say, 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. So for the past 34 years now, we've really been operating under a secure, safe, prosperous global order for the most part. And that's enabled sports like Formula One to thrive. But the system underlying it may be showing some cracks. We see it with increasing regionalism, protectionism, a lot more suspicion of globalism and its costs. Because even though globalism has resulted in a great deal of prosperity, it's also extracted some costs, whether it's in environmental degradation in China, whether it's in the collapse of industry within the American Rust Belt, could be the increasing non-competitiveness of European companies compared to American and Asian ones. There's a lot of costs associated with that are now really coming to the fore. And we see this in various political movements across the world, not just in the United States, but in Europe, Central America, South America. And I think what we're going to see, or what we could see, is increasing regionalism, where there's a withdrawal of certain heretofore global powers, let's say the United States, for example, becoming less interested in Europe or East Asia, for example, and more focused on the Americas. Ditto for countries like France and England, where their focus will be more on the European market. China, likewise, more focus on East Asia and trade within that area. So is that a given? I don't think so, but I think trends are leaning that way, where countries are more inclined to look at opportunities, trading partners, resources, etc., close at home. And what this could mean for Formula One is going back to the future, where it becomes a series where maybe there's not as many races, most of which will be in Europe, and the races that are outside of Europe will be in relatively peaceful and prosperous countries like the United States and Canada. You probably won't see as many forays to the east, and I don't know. It could well be more of what it was, let's say, in the 70s or early 80s compared to what it has been for the last 2 decades or so. So those are my thoughts on some of the headwinds that could be facing Formula One in the future. But what do you think? Go ahead and add your comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit like. And if you'd like to subscribe and hear more of my F1 related musings, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'll get some more content out to you, all right? Talk to you later. Bye-bye.